my lover, my friend, Maeve McCaffrey, and I have a couple of questions for her. So hopefully the questions here will help you in your fitness journey and in your life. So my first question is, what's your favorite food?
Donuts.
Oh, wow. I would have never guessed that.
I know, it's horrible, but I love them.
I do too.
Mm.
What's your go-to breakfast? Like that you're in a rush, you're gonna teach your go-to.
Well, if I can get it to go, anything in a wrap, like a breakfast burrito is my favorite thing. That's my number one.
What about lunch?
I'm not a big lunch eater, so I'm just going to say that I usually have something with liquid, and then unfortunately a lot of the time it ends up being a bar.
Okay.
If I'm going to be honest, that's just how it ends up being, is that it's often on the run.
Yeah.
But I eat a big breakfast usually, it's a burrito, and then I'll have like a quick lunch, and then I eat by 2 o'clock I've got to have something, or 3 o'clock, and I don't always think of that as lunch, but I try to make that some sort of veggie and a protein. I look to protein a lot.
Okay. Yeah. And what about dinner? What's your go-to dinner?
Go-to dinner would be fish, vegetable, maybe some salad. Pretty much fish and vegetable. That's my biggie.
Okay.
Salmon a lot.
What about alcohol? What's your go-to drink that
Red
you just
wine.
love? Red wine, me too. What about workout? What do you go to like when you just want to get a good workout in and you want to sweat and you want to push through and?
Well, it depends on my mood, but being a trainer for years, I can put myself through a decent workout, but I love being a student. Like I really love being a student. So if I want a really hard cardio workout, for me it's going to be a dance class, like a hip hop class, and that's going to be my favorite because I'm going to want to work hard and it's fun and I don't feel like I'm working that hard. I don't mind being out of breath because it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oftentimes it's a hard yoga class. I love being a student in yoga, and sometimes I kick my own butt pretty good.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing weights or interval training, that would be the thing. TRX especially.
Oh, I love that too. Yeah, which we both teach.
Yes,
What's your favorite current TV show that you can't miss?
Oh gosh, that's tough. I'm not a big TV person, but I'll tell you what I DVR because I don't actually football and football. Yeah.
Okay, what about old show that you try to watch every rerun of?
I don't watch any of them right now, but I will tell you that the ones that I have watched in their entirety, and I love Netflix for this, you can totally binge watch, but when they were current, Seinfeld, every single one at least 4 times, probably excessively, and I've done the same thing with Curb Your Enthusiasm. Those to me are like classics.
Okay, so you're a comedy gal.
Yeah, I like the comedy.
What's your favorite movie?
I don't have a single favorite movie, but there's certain ones that I have to watch if they're on, kind of like what you were saying about TV.
Yeah.
And I'm truly an artist here with movies, but Miss Congeniality, I don't know what it is about that movie when it's on. I put it on, it's the dumbest movie ever. Anchorman, love it.
Oh.
Again, my comedy. As far as more serious ones, I love Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one. So I'll leave it with those 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the best advice that you ever got?
Oh gosh, that's tough, but sometimes they're really simple things. And my mom told me to take typing when I was in high school, and I didn't know that I would do a lot of writing as an adult. And for me, being a fast typer has been massive, life-changing. I've saved myself hours and gotten time back by being a fast typer. So I would say typing, and I know that sounds really plebeian, but it's been really
we're on
good.
the computer all day. What about the worst advice you've ever gotten? Do you remember?
I don't really recall any bad advice per se. But I think that sometimes well-intended friends give you bad advice, and it's only in hindsight that you realize. And I think sometimes it's relationships and things like that. And yeah, I've had some bad advice there, kind of like stay with them or break up. Or
What's your favorite book?
Gosh, I love. Okay, so these are so hard. I'm very indecisive. Like it's very hard for me to narrow down to one thing. And at different points in my life, different things have been really influential. So I was a really big reader when I was a kid, and so I always, whenever I think of when I think of something that grabs me, it's usually children's books. The Velveteen Rabbit, The Giving Tree, The Secret Garden. Those were like they were just monumental for me. So I'm going to actually stick to children's books.
What was the last book that you read?
The last book I read was, it was a series of vignettes, and I can't think of it was Open Water, I think was the name of it. I can't think of the name of it. It was something like that, but it was a bunch of short stories, which for me right now in my life, that's a very suiting place for me, is bite size.
If you didn't teach, what would you do?
I would work to rescue animals.
Oh. What's your favorite way to unwind? You had a
Did
rough
we talk
day.
about red wine?
Yeah. Okay. What's the most important and valuable lesson that you learned from your mom?
Well, besides typing, that was advice, not a lesson. I think for my mom is an interesting bird. She's the one who got me turned on to yoga. She's very creative. She was a ballerina herself, and she didn't want me to take dance, so I never took dance until I was an adult. And what she did instill in both my brothers and I is creativity. She was very, very a good leader in being creative, and she helped to foster that in us. We were always in the performing arts and in music, and she led by example doing that, because she still does, like, writes music and plays music and performs, and so it's been that's the side of her that definitely stuck. And
What's the most valuable lesson you learned from your dad?
my dad died when I was 16, and he said on his deathbed, literally, McCaffrey stick together. So he was very firm in telling me and my brothers that we had to stick together as a family, and it's been 100% true.
Oh, wow. Okay, so if your mom had to go through your search history in your computer or through your pictures, which one would you rather her look at?
I'm gonna go with
You could plead the fifth, by the way.
Yeah.
Any one of these, you could plead the fifth.
You know what the problem is? I would say probably search history, but I would feel like I'd have to give disclaimers and everything, because I'm one of those people who has to know everything, and Google was the best thing that ever happened, and smartphones were the worst thing that ever happened, because you can know everything anytime. So someone can say something that's really obscure and inappropriate, but I have to know what it is, and so I look it up. So my search history, if without qualification, you would think I was a real, I don't know.
What if you were having a dinner party, who would you invite?
Oh boy. Okay. Will Ferrell. And I would invite like I could invite anybody I wanted.
Yeah.
Will Ferrell. I like the comedy side, as you know. Probably Larry David.
Okay.
Because I tend to see him out in restaurants anyway, so we might as well dine together.
I know,
if we're
right?
going to see each other.
At the same table.
Right. I probably would invite Obama.
Okay.
I would love to have his, just to be around him at least once. And I would say my brothers. I would like them to be there, because it'd be no point in being with all of those people if I didn't have my family with me.
Oh. All right, so this is a very important question.
Okay.
I'm sure there's days you get up and you're tired and you have to get up and teach and be in front of people. What advice can you give somebody that they're just not feeling like they want to work out? What do you do that motivates you to
get up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the unfortunate thing for most people is that they don't have to, and it's true. I as a teacher, have to get up 3 days a week to teach at 6:30 in the morning, so I don't have a choice in the matter. I have to go, and I almost think that you have to make it where it's not an option, that there's no other option but that. And I mean, there are so many mornings where I would just love to roll back over, and it's not because I don't want to be with my class. I find that the second I get there, or even when I'm en route to getting to my classes, I'm so happy to be in that space and be in that position and have the honor of being a teacher. So as a student, I will book things into my calendar. I set alarms. I make myself get up.
Yeah.
As a teacher, I just know that I'm doing something for someone else, and the way that I feel. I've been teaching for a long time. I've been teaching for 21 years. So I know that the way I feel after I've done a workout or after I've taught a class far outweighs that extra. The reality is I'm going to only sleep for another half an hour.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sleep much longer than that. It's not like I'm going to sleep till 10 a.m. I never do that.
Yeah.
So that half hour is not that big of a deal. And then coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coffee.
Our little secret. Yeah. Where do you draw motivation from? Like, what motivates you in life? Not just in career-wise, but in your own life.
I think that people who tend to be doing what we do, I think that we get so much joy out of making other people happy and seeing their victories, and that really
in every class.
And everything. Yeah. And even people who you don't know, you're making a difference, and sometimes they come back and they tell you something, like somebody who maybe have never even connected, like you didn't think you were having a connection with somebody, and then they come back and they tell you something really profound, and you realize that you're on the right path and you're doing the right thing, because I didn't think I was getting to that person, and I actually got something from them, and something changed in them and made them feel inspired, and that inspires me. Like, to inspire others is the most inspirational thing. Yeah.
What is your favorite documentary?
Oh gosh, favorite documentary. There's a documentary, and I'm going to get the title wrong. It's called like City of Angels, I think, and it was about the homeless people on Skid Row, or not just homeless, but Skid Row.
Yeah.
And living in Los Angeles. It's so interesting that I live on the west side, and so living on the west side and knowing that there's this population of people that live in Skid Row, and not just that they live there, but that's their home, and they feel this really strong connection. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty amazing. I think it's City of Angels, but it's about Skid Row, and it goes a little deeper into mental illness and the drugs that are used to treat people with mental illness, and the reasons why they often turn to street drugs as opposed to pharmaceuticals because of the way that they feel. It gave me a whole new level of empathy, but also kind of opened my eyes to the fact that some of these people actually, they want to live there. That's their community. The way that I think of my neighborhood is my neighborhood. That's their community. They've made friends. They have a connection with all those people, and it was really interesting. Totally. Yeah. And so for me, it was really eye-opening to think like, some of them don't want to leave. This is their home. Yeah. You know.
I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah.
What's your favorite city?
Well, I've only been there once, but Paris is pretty amazing. New York, Boston, Paris. Maybe because I've only been there once. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. What's your favorite song?
Freedom by George Michael.
Ooh, that's a good. Are you a paintings kind of girl or photos? What do you prefer? Both. Mm-hmm. Who's your favorite artist?
Egan Schiele or something. I don't know how you say it. Schiele. It's German. I'm probably butchering it, but Egan is the first name. Egan Schiele or something.
Okay. What is your favorite hobby that you do now?
Favorite hobby. God, I don't know if I actually have any hobbies. I really like cooking. I don't know if that's a hobby, though. I guess it could be, but because the kind of cooking I do, I don't enjoy the day-to-day. I like the special occasion and baking, and so that's kind of more of a hobby than sustenance.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not really like I'm not baking to sustain myself.
Right. I was going to say, because cooking you kind of have to. You kind of have to do. What about a hobby that you want to do in the future?
I always wanted to. I grew up playing music, but I always wanted to play the guitar, and I never learned how to play the guitar. I'm the only person in my family that can't play the guitar, so I would at some point in time. Yeah. And I've been saying that for years, so it probably will never happen. So let's go with knitting. How's that?
Okay. What's your favorite thing to do in LA?
My favorite thing to do in LA is probably sunset at the beach. It still takes my breath away.
I love that. What's your favorite restaurant?
It depends on the type of food, but like high end, I'm gonna probably have to say Nobu. I love sushi, and the new Nobu in Malibu is pretty beautiful.
Who is your fitness motivation? Like, who do you look to and you just adore their body and you admire their dedication and commitment to fitness? Well,
there's been so many people because it depends on the type of modality, you know. But there's a Pilates teacher that's influenced me that I've taken her class a number of times, and she's just stunning. And I always say, I'll do whatever you tell me to do. Her name is Natalie, and I will do anything she says because if there's any chance in hell that I look like her, I will do it.
Well, you're pretty amazing already. What one thing would you change about yourself?
I think that one thing.
Yeah. I'm very indecisive.
Yeah, my decisiveness, perhaps. Yes.
Give me your best fitness advice.
When you don't feel like doing it, buy a new fitness outfit, get new music, treat yourself, do something nice for yourself. If you can't afford it, suck it up. Yeah. Do it anyway. Like, if you're paying for a gym membership, if you're paying for something like that, or if you're running outside, you're saving money. But doing those little things, like taking those little steps to reward yourself, actually, new shoes. Yeah. I mean, when I get new shoes, I'm like, I can't wait to go do something. Like, that's the best, you know.
Besides your phone and wallet, what are 3 things that you always have with you?
I always have some sort of lip gloss or chapstick. I can't stand dry lips. They're a little dry right now. You know, they feel a little like sticking.
I'm same way.
I typically always have, if it's daytime, sunglasses because I have very sensitive eyes to light. And let's see, besides my phone, wallet, you said. Yeah. Gosh, I don't know if I always have anything else with me.
We're like twins. I was going to say Visine for those 6 a.m. classes.
Yeah, right. I'm pretty minimal. I'll have to say that.
What's your favorite gift that you've ever received?
These are such good questions. My favorite gift I've ever received would have to be probably somewhere in the vein of I love personal photo albums. Like if someone makes me a photo album, or
That's a good one.
I love that.
Yeah, that's a
beyond.
great one. What was your worst subject in high school?
Modern history in my sophomore year. It was when my dad was dying, and I was just like, I checked out. And then once you're gone, you're like, you can't catch up.
That's a hard.
It was terrible. That was terrible.
At what age did you feel that you finally got everything together? Like your life was like.
I don't feel like I'm there yet. I still feel like I'm figuring it out.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm there kind of, but it's not like I'm like, oh yeah, I've arrived. I still feel like, in some ways, I still feel the same way when I was 23, and maybe in some ways when I was 23, I probably felt like I was more.
Yeah, and not that your life's a disaster. I'm just saying that it's that you wake up and
There's
you're
no
just.
Finish line.
Yeah.
No finish line.
Who would you trade lives with for one day?
For one day, because I really wouldn't trade lives with anyone, to be honest with you. But for one day, I would love to be I don't know anyone by name, but I would love to be like a stunt performer or something.
Ooh, okay.
But I would never do it on my own because I'm too wussy. But if I could just
for the day,
be in somebody else's body that is good at that, I would totally do that.
I have a feeling I know the answer now. Are you a sunrise kind of girl or a sunset?
I am a sunset girl, but I do love sunrise. But sunset is it's pretty.
It's for me too. Would you rather go out or stay in?
Most times stay in.
Yeah.
Most.
Who's the first person that you call when you have good news to share?
I usually call, good or bad, I usually call my best friend from 7th grade. Her name is Erica. Hi, Erica.
Hi, Erica.
And I usually call her first.
Okay. What do you see for yourself in 10 years?
I don't know. I hope that someone who's close to me just asked me this for 5 years the other day, and I was like, what is this, like Match.com? What are we doing right now? But 10 years, that's a whole other can of worms. I think that our goals when we look at 5 and 10 years down the road is to feel more of what we feel now, more stable, more successful, more rewarded. I think that I'm on the right track, so I think it's more of more, more time with my family, more time to be quiet, more time to practice yoga, more time with myself as opposed to always feeling like I'm grinding, I think that in 10 years, I hope I will have slowed down a little bit, but I don't anticipate that, to be honest with you.
All right, and final question.
Okay.
A 13-year-old Maeve is standing in front of you.
Yes.
What would you tell a 13-year-old you? What advice?
Try not to be so reserved. Try to get out of your box. I think that you asked me something that the one thing I would change about myself, and I wouldn't change that I'm a little bit of an introvert, I'm a little bit reserved. I wouldn't change that about myself, but I would learn to push those boundaries at a younger age because I've learned how to be in that personality type as an adult, but as a kid it was really painful for me, and I actually thought I was shy, and I wasn't shy, I was just really reserved. And it came across as shyness sometimes. So at 13 I just moved, and it's a hard time to move. I think I moved when I was 12, and so to push myself out of that box sooner and be a little more confident, and I think everyone can do that. And 13-year-olds, feel good about yourself, like know that you are. It's
gonna pass.
It'll be a hard 4 years, but it'll go away, and be proud of yourself. You know?
All right. Well, I've told you this. In emails, we've talked before, but I want to take this time to thank you also. Maeve is a woman who hired me at Yoga Works, and I tell people all the time, after our SculptWorks training, people were coming up to her asking her about what was the next step for getting hired at Yoga Works, and she was telling everybody about the audition process. And when I came up, I kind of waited until the very end, and I came up, and she kind of was like,
I didn't need him to audition.
I'm not auditioning you. Yeah. Well, I'm going to call you. And that's kind of, and she took a chance on me without really, and hopefully that it paid off. And she's happy.
I think I'm a pretty good judge, and I don't think it was a chance. I didn't think I was taking a chance at the time, so I think that's.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So I want to just thank you publicly for everything. All right, so that's my dear friend, Maeve, and hope you guys got a little insight into her brain. So bye, guys. We'll see you later.